This is my compare and contrast of Geronimo and Hiawatha. Geronimo was an Apache warrior who helped fight white colonization of the Western world. Geronimo was a symbol of Native American resistance to both the United States and Mexican military. He acquired a reputation as being a fearless fighter who wreaked havoc and vengeance on Mexican troops because they had murdered his entire family, that included his wife, children, and mother. Geronimo established a strong resistance to his many enemies that lasted for over 30 years. He fought in what we now call the Southwest of the United States. He ended up surrendering to General Nelson on September 4, 1886. His legacy lived on because in 2011, the U.S. military that killed Osama bin Laden was codenamed Geronimo. And these are a few pictures of him. Hiawatha, long before the colonizers from Western Europe arrived in the New World, the Iroquois nation located along the southern Great Lakes was fragmented into 5 warring tribes. Hiawatha was born into one of these tribes, and he became an avid follower of a man known as the Great Peacemaker. The Great Peacemaker's objective was to unite the Iroquois nation. However, he had a speech impediment, and this was a culture that valued the ability to be able to speak and communicate. Hiawatha was known to his people for his vivid and skilled storytelling abilities, making him the perfect vessel to carry the Peacemaker's philosophies to other tribes. They eventually arranged a council meeting for the 5 nations. The 5 tribes worked to draft a constitution known as the Great Law of Peace, which held explicitly democratic ideas that would go on to inspire the founders of the U.S. Constitution. In October 1988, the U.S. Congress passed Concurrent Resolution 331 to recognize the influence of the Iroquois Confederacy Constitution upon the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. And these are a few pictures of Hiawatha, but these are painted because it was so long ago. So some commonalities between Hiawatha and Geronimo would be both of them had lasting legacies that were recognized in major ways. So with Geronimo, the assassination on Osama bin Laden, that raid or that team was nicknamed Geronimo, and then with Hiawatha, like we talked about, was recognized for their basically their peace treaty and the ideals that they made influencing the founding fathers and how they constructed our country. They were both committed, passionate, brave, courageous, and they were both defenders of what they were committed to and what they were trying to fight for. They both worked in the Native American culture, so they were in different places geographically, but they were in very similar cultures. Both were seen with much honor and respect by the people around them. Even with Geronimo, his enemies saw him as someone who was brave, who was committed, who was respectful just because of what he stood up for. And they were both fighting for something they were passionate about. They both spent a large majority of their life pursuing what they wanted. Their differences, Geronimo did not succeed in what he was fighting for, so he actually ended up succeeding. While Hiawatha, they actually ended up coming to a peace treaty. Hiawatha fought peacefully while Geronimo fought violently, so Geronimo often did raids and attacks, and many people ended up dead in the situation that he was in, while Hiawatha, they approached it very peacefully by talking and having conversations with people. And Hiawatha did succeed for what he fought for with the peace treaty. And Geronimo acted out of vengeance while Hiawatha acted out of dream. So Geronimo, a lot of what he did was out of how mad he was for what had happened to his family. But Hiawatha was acting out of a dream that their nations could become one and that they could have peace. And these are 3 different sources that I used. One was an educational YouTube video for children. And then the other ones were just general biographies. And then I also put ClassLink on the bottom as a resource that I didn't use for this, but if I was teaching students, they could use. On their ClassLink, it has links to PBS and National Geographic and a lot of things like that, where they can just go type in the name of the person or the event that they're trying to research, and it'll pull up grade level appropriate information for that topic. When thinking about a second grade investigation, if I was planning this type of investigation for my students, I'd give them a table much like we were given. I would choose topics that are relevant to the standards we have learned or need to learn, and I would allow them to choose their topics. This allows for greater student interest, which hopefully will help engage the students in a better way. Now, some students work better individually, while others work best collaboratively. And so I would give the option for students. So the project and investigation could be done individually or in a group, maxing out at 3. The groups would have a little different rubric than the individuals to make sure students are still working and owning what they do. This would look like having students do individual research and then compiling it together, just to make sure that they're all taking part of this process and not just one student doing all the work. So they would be working together when synthesizing their information, but they would still be doing the research and comparing and contrasting individually. I would allow this to be a multi-day project. This would keep students from rushing through the process. This would also allow for students who want to investigate other questions or things to have time to do so. But for example, day 1 would be just research. The students would need to spend the entire time researching because I want to get them to understand the process of research and how to analyze the information and then synthesize the information to come up with their own conclusions and comparisons. And I don't want them to rush through that, while at the same time I want students who are really engaged and who are really curious to have the opportunity and the ability to be able to go further into what they're looking at. Also, I said students would get to choose how they present their information, and this allows for some creativity. However, I would still have the same criteria no matter what. So how the criteria is presented, whether that they do a presentation, whether they do a PowerPoint, whether they have like a drawing and like a big diagram on a giant poster board, whatever they want to do. Because students all learn differently. They can even do skits or things like that. Students learn differently and they have different modalities, so they need to be able to express that. But overall, I just want students to understand the process of research and how to analyze the information and then synthesize the information to come up with their own conclusions and comparisons. And I really just want them to be able to be very hands-on in their learning and to try to relate this experience to their real life so that their learning can be the best that it can be.